In this video cast.
It's like a really crap version of Daily Driven Exotics, actually. So this time, Ryan, we are blowing rather than sucking, right?
Yes.
Welcome back to the channel, and welcome back to the Green Flash, my 20-year-old Porsche Boxster, in a state of slight nastiness, shall we say. And the purpose of today's video is to really start compiling our list of things that need to be done. I think we should start with the really big stuff and really identify and hone in on its real problems before we start polishing paint and making it visually nice, shall we say. So I'm going to enlist the help of some real experts. My local independent Porsche specialist is Speedsport Tuning in Danbury here in Connecticut. They're really good guys. They look after my 996. They're real experts in these cars. And we're going to put it through a pre-purchase inspection, and not just a minor one, a major pre-purchase inspection. Leak down tests, compression tests, all that sort of stuff, and truly hone in on what this car's problems truly are. We should start with the big stuff and address those, because that'll keep it going for longer. And then we can get to the smaller stuff later on. So let's go. Let's see what it's like over there, see what they say about this car. And I'm sort of crossing my fingers that I haven't bought an entirely shit car, but one that is just shit enough that I can fix it, hopefully some myself, some with their help. But let's see. Well, everybody, meet Ryan from Speedsport Tuning here in Danbury. We have arrived, and as you can see, the car is up on the lift already. Ryan is our expert here at Speedsport Tuning and looks after my 911. We're going to go through this together today, Ryan, aren't we? And see whether this is in fact the shittest car in the shittosphere, or whether we've got something which is, relatively sort of safe foundations.
Right.
And it's something to build on. We'll soon see very quickly. Now you're going to take us through kind of a PDI, aren't you?
Yes.
It's like a pre-delivery inspection kind of thing. We're going to look at leak tests, compression tests. We're going to do a borescope, as well as look at the known problems. The check engine light is on. The ABS PDM light is on. And there's a clunk on the suspension. We know it's overfilled with oil. Yeah. There's a number of things we're going to look at together during the course of our video. So let's see where we go. It's up on the lift already. Let's make a start. Okay, so starting at the beginning then, I guess.
Starting with the most noticeable, some body panels, clips are broken off.
Oh, yeah.
These cars ride low, so
yeah,
it happens. Not terrible, but a few just body pieces were hit.
Wow, yeah. It looks, first off, dry,
clean,
but we haven't got to the back yet, of course, where the engine is.
Got the AC lines are
hanging loose.
Been hit, yeah. This plastic piece just broke.
Right.
So the important part seems to be some oil leaks.
Yeah, it does, doesn't there? Now, I wonder if that could be the rear main seal. Are we in the right area for that?
Actually, the rear main seal. Actually, that is the rear main seal.
That is the rear main seal?
Most likely.
Yeah.
No coolant, so that's good.
No coolant?
Good sign. Looks like it's got a fairly new water pump on it, actually.
Oh, it does?
Yes.
That's good to know.
Newer belt, looks like.
Oh, newer belt. Good. We're starting with some positive points,
positive
which is
points. Yep.
Yeah.
A little bit from the valve cover gaskets.
A little bit of leaking.
Yeah, it does mostly look like it'll be the rear main seal or possible the IMS flange.
Right.
Leaking oil.
I was wondering how long it would take one of us to mention IMS.
It's one of the main ones.
Yes.
These are known for the axle boots to tear.
Oh yeah.
These look dry. They're actually not completely split yet, but.
Where am I looking?
So right in here you can see it's kind of dry, rotted in this crease here. They tend to split open.
Yeah.
Same with here. It's just the rubber gets dry and it starts to crack.
But they're not. It's Hasn't cracked yet.
No,
it's dry.
There's no grease everywhere, so that's good. New sway bar end links.
In good shape?
Yep. No noises from there. Looks like this rear strut is actually leaking some oil.
Okay. Yeah, you can see it's really...
Could be one of the clunks.
So new shocks maybe?
Yes. This side's dry, but
yeah,
this should all be dry also.
Right.
And how it's coming down, it's all wet from
up there,
in here, so the seal under that cover just leaks the oil out over time.
Yeah.
Tires have some good tread.
Yeah, they're not bad tyres, they're just not winter.
Right.
They're summer tyres. I bought it in North Carolina, so it was...
Yeah, they don't experience snow that often.
No.
Lately they have been.
They have, yeah. More damage to the plasticky bits.
Yeah.
Nothing too much to worry about.
These cars just ride low.
Yeah.
Overall, not too bad.
Just this oil leak we have to contend with, yeah.
And we could even wash it down and see just how bad it is, take it for a test drive, see if it comes right back immediately or if it takes time.
Well, that's a good idea, yeah.
Back.
Yeah. Okay, so far so good.
Yeah, so far so good.
See where we go next.
Probably start with maybe the compression and leak down. Take the plugs out, see how the plugs look. It does have the original coils on it, it looks like.
Oh, really?
Actually, I'll put it down and scan it and see exactly what kind of faults we have first.
That's a good idea. Wonder if we should also pull the oil filter and see if there's any metal in it.
Good. Yeah, actually, while it's up, we could do that right now.
Just so that I had a little bit of commentary of my own. See, I do somewhat know what I'm talking about.
It's got a little shine to it, but it's not terrible. You can see the little sparkly bits in there.
Is that something we should worry about?
It's when you get to the bottom of the filter cap you should worry. There is some sparkles in there, but it's not terrible.
Right. And what would cause that?
That's mostly from the bearings.
The IMS?
From rod bearings.
Oh, okay.
Crank bearings. There's also some other sediment in here. There's I don't know what that is, but I don't like that. It's actually debris in the oil filter. Yeah, this is an odd. I think I want to cut this oil filter open and see
have a look
more
inside,
of what that stuff is. Filter housing, it has that green debris.
What is that?
That's what I don't know and I don't like.
Yeah. Is that metallic or is that plastic?
It kind of looks sandish almost to me.
Yeah. So we've got some... What is all that?
Yeah.
That's a lot of crap in there. What do we think that is?
I gotta say, this is a first for me. It's a seal of some sort. It's actually
plastic.
It's rubber.
Rubber.
Yeah. Yeah, that's very odd.
So not metal, at least.
No, it's definitely rubber.
So that's something to say. I'm trying to seek positives.
Right. Right. It almost looks like it could be just an O-ring that might have been dropped in, which does not sound good. That it would be dropped into the engine, but
it's just disintegrated.
It's just disintegrated everywhere. Yeah.
All right. So not a brilliant start, but you know, we're here to find out what's wrong with it and make it better. What do you think we should look at next, just to sort of pursue whether we've got real damage here or whether...
Check the check engine light, see exactly what kind of faults it has in the computer, and then from there go on to more mechanicals, taking the coils out, taking the spark plugs out, do a borescope, checking cylinder walls for damage, seeing good compression, if there's any leak down from the valves. Yeah. We can kind of go from there and see if the engine is still sound.
All right. Well, let's see if it's the if bit that I didn't like about that statement, Ryan. You know, but it is what it is. So let's keep going. All right. More moments of truth here. The magic computer is now hooking up.
So we got 4 faults in the DME, 1 in the ABS.
Okay. And that tracks with what it's telling me. I wondered whether that might be the stoplight switch. I don't know though, obviously.
So it has a, just like your 996, it's got a secondary or injection fault. Remember that was just a simple vacuum line?
Oh, I do. This is a vacuum thing.
Yep.
Yeah, I do remember that. Yeah.
So this could be a dry rotted hose causing that, and a couple of oxygen sensor codes.
Could any of that be connected with the overfilling of the oil?
It could be, because the oil burning through the cylinders could potentially get on the oxygen sensor and give it a false reading.
Yeah, I don't know.
And for the ABS, it is a brake switch.
Okay. I can probably do that myself. I think we've probably got bigger fish to fry with all that stuff in the oil filter.
This is a good sign. There's no misfires, no timing faults or anything of that kind. So it's nothing major.
Nothing major. Okay. Yes. Well, that's again seeking positives.
Right. Exactly.
Because if the engine was on its way out, because it's got that sort of oil, that seal going through it, that rubber, you'd know. You might most likely know something on here, would you? You
would. Yeah. There would most likely be misfire faults. You would even feel it. The engine not running correctly.
Yeah. And it's pretty smooth.
It felt smooth.
Yeah.
Well, we'll start now with taking the plugs out, getting compression test, and see what the plugs look like. I'm sure they're original, judging by the coils. Might not have ever had to tune up. So.
Wow. All right. Let's see where we go.
Yeah. Since I have the filter out already, I'm just going to go ahead and drain the engine oil, see if there's any of that rubber debris in the crankcase oil as well.
All right then, let's do that.
The oil was changed recently. It's fairly clean.
Yeah.
You do see a little bit of a metallic shine to the engine oil.
And how, I mean, is that in any way normal for a car of this age, or is that it should be, you would say that it's somewhat normal to see something
it's when you see, bigger chunks it's really disturbing, but it just had fine little particles other than what seems to be a rubber O-ring.
Yeah. It's within,
that's not bad.
That's within sort of normal for the age, you would say.
Yeah, it doesn't look too bad. Usually at the end of the oils where all the sediment sits at the bottom, and then you'd see the sediment coming out, but that actually looks pretty good.
Yeah.
Just taking off the underbody panel.
Right. Okay, it's dry still.
Now you can really get a better look at the water pump.
Oh yeah.
Definitely looks newer.
Yeah.
Same with
that's the black thing there,
belt.
isn't it? Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, that's the water pump pulley there.
And the belt.
Yep. Belt, no dry cracks or anything. Actually looks very good.
Yeah. Yeah. The one for. It's still fairly dry. Once we get away from that sort of RMS-y bit,
yes.
At the end there, it's pretty dry, isn't it?
Yeah.
They've got a lot.
You do have a lot of oil on the valve covers.
Where is that coming from?
It could be from the valve cover gasket.
Yeah.
And once we get the coils out, there is a tube seal, a part of the valve cover also, that could be leaking. There could be oil coming out of the spark plug tube itself.
Oh, really?
Yes.
But that sounds awful.
We'll find out.
Yeah.
I was like watching it, trying to figure out what.
Yeah, I know.
The plastic tab that holds it just breaks right off.
Oh, is that all it is?
Yeah. So you can see the nut is still intact that holds it, but all the thin plastic that did hold it down is
off. So that probably needs a new whole thing, does it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now we can move on to pulling the coils out, pulling the spark plugs out, see what they look like, and then proceed with leak down, compression, and borescope.
So that's our first coil
looks good.
is out. The first coil looks okay.
There's a little bit of oil on the coil from that tube seal, but sometimes when you pull these out, it's soaked in oil.
Yeah.
So that's not bad.
So that's only one of 6, of course. Number 2.
It's got some more.
Oh yeah. So where would that have come from? Is that overfilling it, or?
It's from so the valve covers have a seal right around the spark plug tube,
Oh yeah.
and that just gets dry over time and
Okay.
starts to leak.
Okay. Number 3. That's not too bad, is it?
No. And this style coil pack is known for cracking. Then
Yeah.
you develop a misfire, but these
Look
they're
okay.
dirty, but there's no cracks.
Are these things that if there aren't any cracks on them, you would recommend replacing, or if they're not broken, don't fix them, kind of thing?
Yes and no. These aren't that known for cracking. Just as preventative,
Yeah.
you should probably replace them with the updated style.
Oh really?
Yes.
Yeah. I see. You're pulling the spark plug out now. Okay. See? Yeah, what have we got here?
Very good, actually.
Not bad.
Not bad.
Yeah. Do they look old to you?
No, they don't.
They
And it's an
look old.
NGK too, so they have been replaced before.
Okay. And
No, you could actually
number 2.
see more of the oil that's in that tube
Oh yeah.
from the valve cover gasket.
So that valve cover gasket seems as if it's something that probably should rise towards the top of
Yes.
the pile.
Depending on how much oil it gets in that tube for the spark plug, it could develop a misfire.
And do you think that could be responsible for some of the smoke I'm seeing out the back?
Yes, because
Yeah.
it's actually dripping right onto the exhaust too, so you might get some
Yeah.
of the oil smoke out of that.
Got it. Okay.
This one's not bad.
Yeah, it's drier, isn't it?
Yes, very dry. A good example of maybe getting some smoke out of it, you could see a trail of oil on the catalytic converter here.
Oh yeah.
So that gets very hot, so all this oil eventually will just smoke off.
Yeah. Valve cover gaskets again, you think? Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so number 4. Dry.
Yep.
Okay. Number 5. Ooh,
Wet.
very wet.
Yes.
Okay. Last one, number
dry.
6. Dry.
So it seems to be both banks, the middle
Okay, yeah.
tube seals leaking the worst.
Right. It's not one gasket that goes around all of them
No,
then?
it's actually individual.
Individual
O-rings.
gaskets, O-rings. Oh, I see. Okay. Right.
Looks good.
Well, this doesn't look too bad, does it?
Socket's dry.
Socket's dry. Okay. Number 5.
Pretty oily.
Oily. Yeah. And number 6. What are we looking at there?
That one's dry.
That looks dry and not bad. All right. Okay. So right now that we've done all that, what is our next thing? We're going to look at borescoping, or will we do the leak down
We're going to
test?
start with the borescope.
Borescope first, see if there's any damage up there.
Exactly. We grab a socket, start turning over the engine, get it to bottom dead center.
Yeah.
I'll stick the bore gauge in there and see what the cylinder looks like.
Oh God. Okay. Not looking forward to this. Normally I'm quite nervous of a man in rubber gloves with a borescope. Luckily it's my car that's having the treatment done. So it's the sides of the pistons, of the cylinders that you're interested in, right?
Yes. So it'll
Not
be
the
cylinder
piston
walls,
itself.
Not the piston itself.
Yeah, which is what
Right
we're
now
looking at
still-
now, isn't
yes,
it?
that's the
yeah.
top of the piston.
Yeah.
We're just really getting it to bottom dead center so we could get a look at the whole cylinder wall.
Got you. Right.
So yeah, the top of the piston actually looks good, nice and clean.
That's good.
Now what we really want to see is the cylinder walls.
And that's what we're looking at now, is it?
Yep.
Well, to the untrained eye, it looks all right. But what do you think as the expert?
It does look good.
Yeah, this is only one of 6, remember, but... And this is exactly the type of test which speaks to the fundamentals of the car. Is it a good car or a bad car? This is what I'm here to do. So, this is really interesting. Yeah, it doesn't look bad at all, does it? So far.
So far it looks good.
And there's no sign of that O-ring either that we found in the oil filter.
No sign of the O-ring.
Yeah.
There's one little tiny score.
Okay.
Very small. You could kind of see it in the light there.
Okay. For 75,000 miles in 20 years,
Right.
this is what you'd expect to see, you think? Yeah.
Yeah, that cylinder looks good.
Okay, let's try the next one.
You could really get a gauge for how much oil is in the spark plug tube seal also.
Oh, yeah. So this is cylinder 2. Yeah, so that valve seal gasket
Yes,
needs
you see
attention.
the oil there.
Yeah. So the piston itself again looks fairly clean.
Yep.
Yeah.
Again, just very minor.
You can see those ones, can't you?
Yes.
Yeah.
Very minor scoring.
Within the tolerances of normal for its age.
Yes. There's some more there.
Yep. Another one there. No, or maybe
That seems to, I believe that's just oil.
okay. Piston looking clean. Moment of truth time for the cylinder wall.
Again, it's just age.
Yeah.
No deep.
No big disaster, you think?
No.
When you see a car that is badly bore scored, you would notice that. So in
Oh, yes.
the gouges are quite deep.
Very noticeable. Yep.
Yeah. Maybe I'll see if I can find a picture of that for the viewers at home to compare and contrast what my one looks like versus a really badly gouged one. Okay, bank 2 looks good. Let's go in for bank 1, cylinders 1 through 3. Here we go. So again, this is the cylinder wall we're looking at now on cylinder 1, right?
Yes.
Is that oil or is that a score there? Going up and
That
down.
seems to be. I believe that's a liquid.
Okay.
It's not a score.
Okay.
You can see a little bit, just very minor scoring.
Yeah. This looks quite encouraging to me from the 4 that we've seen so far. What would you say? I mean, is this fairly good for its
This
age,
is.
or yeah?
There's a little bit there.
I can see that. Yeah.
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 But not bad.
Not bad. Okay, cylinder 2, moment of truth coming up. Looking at the side of the cylinder again. Not a whole lot to see.
Just a very little bit.
Yeah,
Get some more there.
yeah,
But
yeah. You can see it there.
that's a bad one.
That's a bad one.
That's a bad one. That's heavy scoring.
That's heavy scoring. Okay.
That's the whole length of the
So what would be the effects of that? Well, I mean, how would that manifest itself in driving the car?
This occurs because of the piston rings. It could be a piece of debris because there actually seems to be some debris in here also. It could get lodged in between the piston. It just creates a groove in the cylinder wall.
Right. So not so good news on cylinder 2 then. Again, how often would you find that on a car of this age? Is that, I
It's
won't say normal, but is it
fairly common.
fairly common?
It is.
Yeah. Then that's not necessarily the result of a defective or part they put on new, you know,
Right.
in the factory. It's just,
It's how the engines
Stuff.
are actually designed.
yeah,
It's-
so you would expect to see that somewhat often in a car of this age.
Right. More often than not.
More often than not,
Yeah.
yeah. Okay. Even though we've seen sort of deeper grooves there, not anything really to worry about for a car of this age. You
Right.
would expect that to see that kind of thing.
I've seen much worse, and the car still ran and drove beautifully. So.
Yeah, yeah. We're going into cylinder 3 now, right?
Yes.
Okay.
You can see there's a little oil on top of the piston there.
Oh yeah. Okay, cylinder 3 then. This one's
A little on.
little one there.
Yeah. Actually, in that one, you can almost see the piece of debris still stuck in the
Oh really?
gouge.
Oh yeah. Is that a big gouge? Do you-
No, that one's not that deep.
Okay.
It doesn't look like
Yeah.
it's present, but it's not that deep.
Okay, so this one's looking better. Not too bad at all.
Not too bad.
back of this car that we like a lot.
Just that one questionable spot.
Yeah. So having looked at all 6, you know, the layman in me would say, Ryan, not so bad. But you know, what? Obviously, cylinder I think 2 was the worst, and a little bit on cylinder 3.
A little bit on 3. Yeah.
Overall, though, having looked at all 6 and having worked on sort of hundreds of these cars, what would be your assessment of it?
Normal wear and tear. Nothing excessive. I've seen much worse. One of them, especially on cylinder 2, looked a little deep, but
Yeah,
this car can still run for another 100,000 miles
without any problems.
without
yeah.
any
Yeah.
problems. Yeah.
Okay, well, this is not terrible news.
Not terrible.
So, you know, you've got to bear in mind that this is a 20-year-old car, I guess,
Right.
and it's done 75,000 miles, and you've got to sort of take that for what it is. You're not going to see complete perfection. These things probably weren't perfection when they were released from the factory. They're not the best designed cars in the world, but all right, we'll take that. Leak test, I guess, next. Leak down and compression test, right?
Compression next, and then leak down.
Okay, fine, let's do that. Okay, so it's leak down and compression tests now, Ryan. For those at home that are not sort of too familiar with those types of things, what are we checking for here, and what would that be a sign of if we found some problems?
So now we're going to be doing the compression test first. We're going to put this in. I actually have to pull the fuse for the fuel pump so that we're not squirting fuel into the cylinder and getting a false reading.
Yeah.
Then we crank the engine over essentially as it would as if it was running, and we get a compression reading.
Okay.
Now all the cylinders aren't going to be the same. They'll be close. They got to be within 20% of each other to be a good compression ratio. So
Okay. And if we had a bad compression, what's that a sign of? Is there sort of gaskets leaking or that
could
sort
be
of
a
thing?
sign of piston rings, a valve not seating all the way or being burnt in any way.
Yeah. And a leak down is kind of like the opposite of a compression test. So rather than trying to
Right.
sort of force things out, we're trying to see if liquid goes in.
Right, we're actually, when a leak down test, we're introducing air to the cylinder, and
Yeah.
same concept, seeing if there's a valve that's not seating all the way or if it's burnt and leaking past the compression rings also, or oil rings of the piston.
So these two things you'd normally do, you know, just belt and braces, belt and suspenders, you do both
Right,
rather than just
exactly.
one. Yeah. Good, okay, thanks a lot. Let's see how we get on.
Alright.
Cylinder 2 then.
About 150, 151.
Okay, close to the other one. Okay, cylinder 3.
Crank it. Alright.
What have we got there?
152.
Not bad. So even despite that bit of scoring on cylinders 2 and 3, they're pretty consistent, aren't they?
Yeah, pretty close to cylinder 1.
Yeah. This is cylinder 4 on the left bank.
Crank. Alright.
What have we got there?
155.
Alright, it's looking pretty consistent so far.
Cylinder 5.
Cylinder 5 on the left bank.
Crank. Alright.
Looking consistent again. What's that one coming out at?
157.
Okay. Number 6, the last one. Let's see how we do.
Crank. Alright. 151.
Okay.
So.
So all in all, Ryan, what's your verdict on the compression test then, across all 6 cylinders?
Compression test is good. They're all well within 20% of each other.
Yeah. And the overall number
big,
is close to where it should be?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially for the age of the vehicle, and it's got good compression.
Happy days. Good stuff. So, still fairly positive. Compression is good. We're now going to do our leak down test, just for belt and suspenders, belt and braces, whatever you want to call it. Let's see what that looks like. So this time, Ryan, we are blowing rather than sucking, right?
Yes.
To put not to put too fine a point on it. You've put some. So you're blowing already in there, are you?
We got 70 psi of air pressure actually in the cylinder, and it's at 70 psi in this gauge. So we're not losing any pressure through the valves or the piston rings or anything. So that's very good. That's what you want to see.
And that's cylinder 1 on the right bank.
Yes.
Okay. All right then, here we go. See, cylinder 2 right bank. Feed the air in. And hope that the 2 dials match up together. What have we got on this one?
We got 70 on the left, and we have about 69 on the right.
Okay,
So 1%.
1%. So nothing to worry about there, you think?
Nothing to worry about.
Okay, good. All going so well so far. Of course, cylinder 2 was the most scored of the cylinders, so 1% difference. Not too bad there, actually. So, you know. Alright, cylinder 3, right bank. Fingers crossed, everybody. Here we go.
Same here also, we got 70 on the left, 69 on the right.
Okay, it's alright, we'll take that. So now, this is cylinder 4 on the left bank, right?
Yep, correct.
Looks to be pretty consistent. What have we got?
It's 70, and I would call it 70.
Okay. There or thereabouts, anyway.
Right,
Yeah,
69
very good.
and a half, 70.
Yeah. Good. Alright. So, number 5 on the left bank. Let's see what we've got here. Okay, looks pretty good.
70 on the left and 69 on the right.
Alright, we'll take that. Well, fingers crossed that the 6th and last one doesn't go completely awful for us. Let's have a look. Oh, not bad.
70 and 70.
70 and 70. So it's quite interesting, Ryan, then, isn't it? Given that, you know, what we've seen of the bore scoring, and there isn't a lot of bore scoring really, more than would be expected for its age, but nevertheless, you know, it's that's pretty good. It's a pretty
Good
healthy,
compression, good leak down.
pretty good healthy engine then. Thank God for that. So Ryan, you said that you had a look at the brakes. What's the verdict on the brakes?
So the brake pads, they're 4 millimeters of thickness.
Right.
Usually the sensor starts to touch right around 3, so you get the brake pad wear light around 3 millimeters, so you're close there. But also you could see the rotor have this ridge on the end.
Yeah, a little
So
lip
it's-
there.
Yeah, a little lip.
So that hasn't got any life left in it, or it's...
It'll start to make a noise eventually, like if you were to just put pads on it.
Yeah.
The pads will wear prematurely because of this lip. It
Okay.
could make a noise
So you think
also.
get them both done together?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, because the fronts are also 4mm, and they too have a much
Bigger
bigger
lip, because the
ridge.
weight is all
Yeah,
coming on the front.
Exactly.
Yeah. So brakes and rotors.
Brakes and rotors. Yeah.
Okay, all right. Well, that's the spark plugs back in then, and coils back in. I guess, Ryan, now the plan is a road test, right?
That's correct. Do a quick light test and then a road test.
Let's get on and do that. Great stuff. So we're going to give this a good clean underneath here, and Ryan, you said that as there was no oil dripping down below here whilst we've had it on this, it's been on the lift for a good 2 or 3 hours, 3 hours in fact, there's been no dripping at all, that it could be a seeping of the RMS rather than, you know, disastrous failure all in one go.
Leak, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, well, we'll give it a wash and we'll take it for a drive and bring it back and have a look at it. So Ryan, what are you checking for with the road test?
The road test, you're checking for looseness in the steering, noises over bumps, engine noises, alignment, pretty much anything with the
you
car,
can get.
really.
Yeah. There was a knocking from the suspension. We know that. That might be those leaky shocks. But
Checking brake pedal feel, clutch play, slippage, anything like that.
clutch is a relatively high bite.
It is. And it's stiff. It's not a very smooth
Yeah.
travel.
And what's that a sign of?
It could be the throttle bearing having some grime on the input shaft. Just
Yeah.
not sliding smoothly.
Yeah. Is it also a sign of a you know, needs a new clutch kind of thing?
Yeah, it could be a worn out pressure plate.
Yeah.
Do you hear that?
You can hear that? Do you think it's coming from the back? Could be actually.
I do, yes.
Yeah.
There's play in the shifter.
Yeah,
also,
there is a
the
bit of
shifter
play, yeah.
bushings.
Shifter bushings?
Yeah.
Yeah. Is that an easy fix?
It's, you gotta take the center console apart. It's
Okay.
fairly easy, it's just a lot to get to it.
Yeah.
Runs good.
Yeah, engine's alright, I think. I mean, just from what I've been able to tell.
Yeah, you can almost hear
Shock.
this shock since it lost its oil. It almost sounds like it's constantly
Wobbling.
just bouncing. Yeah. Steering's tight.
Yeah.
You had said the heat is poor.
Yes.
Doesn't really come out.
Well, it's not hot. It's warm. Similarly, the air conditioning, not that I've needed it, doesn't blow cold. I'm guessing it's empty or it's got a leak. I don't
Right.
know. You know, that's something we need to have a look at. I bought a canister of that stuff to
Okay. Yep.
put in it, which I'm going to see if that works. But that wouldn't explain the heat.
Yeah,
I wonder
'cause
what.
we're already almost up to temp and it's still
Yeah,
blowing cold.
exactly. So I wonder what that would be.
It could be a faulty thermostat. Could be partially plugged heater core.
Yeah.
Even something in the dash, a blend door actuator not operating.
Okay, so that requires some more investigation.
Right, there could be
Yeah.
multiple things. It's weird. It almost sounds like the right rear strut is the one that's the noisiest.
There's going to be quite a long list of things that need doing on it. None of them are terminal, which is good. We do
Should be saved.
we do like Mark to make sure he has a good pension. You know, so
Yeah.
a nice long list of things. He'll hopefully be able to retire early.
Right.
But there's nothing. I'm pleased to say nothing that is too bad. It's just deferred maintenance items. I
Right.
think you know
And
the bushings
even
on the. Yeah, go ahead.
the rotors, I thought I was going to feel some sort of a pulsation because of that lip, but they don't have a pulsation to them.
Yeah. Nevertheless, I think it would be a false economy not to get them done when they've got a lip on them.
They're actually might be some sort of an exhaust shield rattle.
Yes.
See, now I get what you mean. Now
It's warmish.
warm-ish, yeah.
But it's not very warm.
Right.
Coming out of the air vent there.
No steering wheel vibration, though.
Oh, that's good, isn't it?
Steering wheel straight.
Yeah.
You could feel the rear shocks definitely being worn out. It
Yeah.
wasn't a smooth bump. You could almost feel.
Yeah, it doesn't ride as
rebound
nicely as
after.
my 996, which is in good shape. A car that you know well,
Yep.
of course, but
Yep.
no, this doesn't feel as if it rides anywhere near as well as the 996.
No. Maybe a small steering wheel vibration around 60.
Okay.
Could just be a balancing issue.
Yeah, it could be balancing on the wheel, the tyres.
It's not bad though. It's
Yeah, or alignment or something.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And I had cleared the faults before, but the ABS light did just come back on.
Oh, it did.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think
And
that's
that
a
was for
brake
a
switch.
brake switch. Yep.
Yeah, I might have a stab at doing that myself.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, you could do that.
And when I break it,
That
I'll bring it
favored
back
you.
to you, and you can do it properly. That's the way you're my backstop.
She could be a very nice driver.
Yeah, that's the aim really with this. I mean, the aim of the entire series is to sort of take this car, which has gone a bit too far into deferred maintenance, and bring it back into something which is, you know, a good usable car.
Right.
Yeah, so I think we'll get it back into the sort of schedule of maintenance, bring it back, and I think it'll be a rather nice little car actually.
Yeah.
It's never going to be worth a lot of money, so you know that's why people slide into deferred maintenance. I
Yep.
think because you know it gets to a stage where these cars are not worth it. You know, you've got to love a car to spend more on it than it's
You do.
worth.
Yep.
And unfortunately, that's where we are with some of these lower end Boxsters, which is crazy because you're getting a flat six in a Porsche.
Right.
Why they're valued so low, I don't understand. But you know, as I've made the point before, these weren't ever the sort of golden age of Porsche, so that's probably the answer.
It is still a Porsche though.
It is, and actually it's a pretty good one, I
Right.
think. There's a lot to be said for them. So I'm looking forward to sort of coming through the other side, and when you and I can look back at it and say, well, this actually is quite a nice little car, actually. We're not there yet, but we will get there. Yeah, it's not exactly like one of those Stradman videos where he's going, oh my
Yeah.
God, we're going so fast. Or Daily Driven Exotics.
Right.
This is like a really
Yep.
crap version of Daily Driven Exotics, actually. Where we're going quite sedately in a 200 horsepower Boxster.
Yes.
Well, that was actually quite a helpful experience, the road test. It actually helped us figure out, I guess, what we already knew, but maybe run with the suspension. It helped us sort of figure out where it was coming from,
Right,
that
you
kind
could
of stuff.
Definitely hear the rear shocks bouncing around and that left rear leaking the oil.
Yeah.
Tells you that one's bad, but you could also hear a creaking from the front bushings of the shocks.
Yeah.
You could also get like a clunk out of them too with that bumpy road.
Yeah, and it didn't. You know, the steering is straight and true.
Yep.
The brakes are in good working order for now. I mean, we haven't got a lot of time left with those.
Right.
And then, yeah, I guess quite a helpful experience. But let's get it up on the lift and see if we've leaked any more oil. That'll be interesting. Okay, what have we got here? Let's have a look.
Looks like we got a little bit back.
A little bit there, yeah.
Yeah. That could even just be a little bit that I didn't wipe away good enough.
Well,
because
if we were
it's-
talking it up, it could be, yes. Yeah. But it's not disastrous, is it? It's not pouring out by any stretch.
Yeah, because that's more, it's mixed with brake clean still, so that's not
Yeah,
just pure oil.
yeah. Okay. Okay, all in all, as a layman, then, I am reassured a bit, actually, because this is very much something that I should have done before I bought this car. But I love bringing my stuff to Speedsport because you guys really look after the 996 really well with care and attention. But Ryan, what's your overall view of this car then? Having done all the sort of proper tests, we didn't just do a shallow, sort of bounce over the surface of the whole thing. We did quite a deep, look at this car.
Right.
Well, how do you sort of independently think about this car?
I think the car still has a lot of potential. It has some wear and tear to it, but some maintenance, and the car will be as good as new again.
Yeah. You think it's
Suspension,
basically good
brakes,
bones?
Oh yeah, absolutely. The
Yeah.
platform of the car, the engine, still in good, healthy order, so it's
Yeah.
definitely
So
has potential.
I think, for me at least, this is all about, bringing it back into OEM plus kind of shape. And I wanted to sort of start my journey here because the big items are the ones that probably you should take care of first.
Right.
Before I start polishing paint and all that sort of stuff, and adding the final bells and whistles to it. So I come away feeling quite reassured, viewers, and I hope this video has been helpful for you as you consider a Boxster at the lower end of the scale. I must admit, and thanks Ryan so
Absolutely.
much. I really value this. So thanks a lot to Ryan and everybody, Mark at Speedsport Tuning here in Danbury, Connecticut, for going over it so professionally and so deeply. Well, here is the list of things that need to be done with the associated costs shown. As you can see, nearly $8,500 worth of stuff to be done. Now, having said that, I'm not going to get it all done all at once. It's far too much money, and I'll never get it back. Not that I'm really expecting to get much of it back anyway. And I think some of these things are more important than other things. So what I'd like to do is start off with the check engine diagnosis and get them to have a look at that. I think I can do the brake work myself, replacing the discs and pads, the rotors and the pads. The soft top replacement and the leather repair I think I can do myself, although those are the costs for the materials, not the labour shown there. I think the left front ball joint can wait, frankly. I don't think it's that bad, and I think the shock absorbers are more important. And the valve cover leak, I think that's important to get done. That just we don't want oil going through into the cylinders, so we're gonna get that done. Now, the shocks worry me. I'm not sure that I could do the shocks. What do you think? Is that something that should be easily doable by a sort of a not gifted mechanic like me, or do you think that is something I should get a shop to do? But at that sort of money, it does scare me into having a bit of a go at myself and trying to get that done myself. So please let me have your comments below. I'm really interested in what you think about what this car's priorities are now that you've seen its a pretty deep and fulsome inspection. I'd be really grateful for your advice. And in the next video, I'll talk about what we're going to do and what I've booked it in for. But I'd really like your advice before I move much further. So there we are. I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you have, give it a like, would you? And consider subscribing. That always helps if you're enjoying this type of stuff. Otherwise, thanks for being with me, and we'll see you in the next one. All the best.